G'day, welcome back to RC Bottle Reviews. How do you make the review of a quadcopter interesting these days? Every man there's dogs reviewing everything on the market. Quadcopter reviews are a dime a dozen. Well, I've done my best with the intro to get your juices flowing, get you excited and interested about this new quad. And before I go on, I'd just like to say there are no mid-roll ads in this video. You will not see any mid-roll ads in any of the videos on this channel. I appreciate your time, the time you spend watching these videos too much to throw mid-rolls at you. So if you would like to reciprocate, you can click the like button or subscribe if you're not already subscribed. But let's get on with this review now. Foxeer sent me this box. Look. This box here, there it is, box. And inside here was the Aura 7. I'm going to read what it says on the back of the box. There's a label here. It says this is the Foxeer Aura 7 long range RTF drone. No, it's not. It's nowhere near ready to fly. It doesn't come with a transmitter. It is bind and fly, bind and tweak and fly. You've got to do some tweaking anyway. I've got to be honest about the amount of work involved in making this thing fly. Now, it comes with 2806.5 1300 kV motors, because this is the 6S version, and it has the F7 I'll put a link in the description to the product page for this quadcopter, because there are so many options you can use or choose when you want to buy one of these things. Not an affiliate link. I don't do affiliate stuff. I do have to disclose, however, that they sent me this for review. I did not pay for it. But if it was crap, I would tell you. And there's some things I'm not that fussed about, but there's lots of things I like about it. Too long, don't read? Yeah, buy it. But let me just quickly go over what I got in this quad. It's got Crossfire for the RF link. I chose Crossfire. Could have had ELRS, could have had Free Sky as the RF link, but I chose Crossfire for reasons I'll explain later. It has the DJI digital FPV system, not the O3, but it is a wonderful candidate for the O3 if you want to go O3. It is available with O3 now. When this one was sent to me, the O3 wasn't an option, but it is now, I believe. Go to the product page, you'll find out. As I say, it's got these folding blade props, these 7-inch folding blade props. These are wonderful because you just fold them back and you can drop it in a box or in your pack without the hassle of having to take the props off. Brilliant, and they perform really well, as you'll see in the video. It's got really good. It's got these long extended antennas for the DJI FPV system, and that's really important. I've seen so many quads where the antennas are right close to the frame, and it really messes with the performance of your RF equipment, whether it be your RC receiver or your FPV system. One thing I'm not fussed about, look at the Crossfire antenna. It's horizontally mounted. No, that's very bad, and I'll explain that in another video. But most quad manufacturers do mount the antennas for ELRS or Crossfire horizontally because it's easy. But if you're not flying too far, that won't be an issue. But if you want maximum long range, don't do that. Don't do that. But we'll let them off because everyone else is doing it. And I'll show you in a later video how to fix that. Now, I flew this with a 1300 milliamp 6S China Hobbyline battery, which you normally use on a 5-inch quad. But I got 6 minutes out of this thing with a 1300 milliamp battery. It will carry much more battery than that. In fact, I'll explain when we go to the next part of the video what I've done to get 16 minutes of flight out of this thing without even trying, without breaking a sweat. But there we go. I should mention when I got this, and this seems to be a bit of a theme with the Foxeer bind and flies. When I got that little Foxeer Fox Whoop, I had to pull it apart and turn one of the frame members around 90 degrees because I put it together wrong. It had been assembled incorrectly. And yeah, it was a quick fix, and I was going to pull it apart to see inside anyway, so it didn't bother me too much. But it looks like at Foxeer, they're not totally focused on the game, because when this one came, the XT60 battery lead was out the side. It wasn't out this little compartment, this little hole at the back here. It was poking out the side, so it would have fouled the props. Only a 5-minute job to undo all the screws, put that back in, away you go. But attention to detail is important. Other than that, the build quality is very good. The design is pretty good. I would say the arms could be improved. I think they haven't accounted for the loss of material where they drill the holes, so there's stress rises at the base of the arm. If you crash this hard, you will break an arm. I would say if you're going to buy one of these and you think you might crash it, order some spare arms with the quad, because you will need them. They are thick, but that hole in the middle, massive stress riser, have an impact, it's going to break. It's going to break. All quads will break arms, but this will break maybe a little easier than some others. Anyway, that's enough of the prelude. What I'm going to do is I'm going to talk some more about this, but I'm going to do it while I take you for a flight in the Aura 7 long range bind, fly and tweak quad. Let's go. Welcome aboard, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Foxeer Aura 7, and what you're seeing now is actually the DVR recording from the DJI goggles. So it's not the onboard DVR, it's the goggle recording, because I want you to be able to see how well the video system works. If there's any problems due to the installation, they'll show up on your screens during this flight. As I mentioned just before, this is a 1300 milliamp battery. Notice I turned around here, my spotter said, hey, there's a car coming. So I wanted to see who it was. Didn't recognize them. But yeah, it is 1300 milliamp hour battery. Now, that gave me the full 6 minutes you see here, and there was still some juice left in the tank. That's pretty good. One thing to notice here, look at these cows I'm flying over. They're not running away. Some of them turn their head, but really they're just not bothered by this quad because it is very, very quiet. It's no DJI Avata when it comes to making a noise. It's a very quiet quad. That's down mainly to the very low prop loading. The prop discs is very lightly loaded because it's not a heavy quad, and you've got those 7-inch props, gives you much more prop area. At this stage, I think we're about 800-900 meters from the launch point, so everything's looking good. No RSSI warnings, the video's performing well. Yeah, it is a comfortable 900 meters. I probably could have gone another 900 meters, but line of sight, the rules. You got to fly in the rules. That's what they tell me. So, and I'm not a fan of BV loss because the risk just goes up a bit much when you can't see the quad or where the quad is flying. So I prefer to stay within visual line of sight. Nevertheless, I'm running 700 milliwatts here on the FPV system. So, if you go to 1.2 watts, you'll easily make 2 or 3 kilometers at this altitude. And that's really important because it's easy to fly long distance when you're high, not so easy when you're low. I'll talk about that in a moment, but I'll tell you why I chose Crossfire as well. Now, there's quite a windy day today. That's why you see some shaking, some bobbling. Also, I've got Parkinson's. My thumbs don't always do what I tell them. They shake around a lot. I did wind up the expo a bit, but that's all the tuning I did on this quad. This is the stock tune. There's a bit of recirculation on descent, a bit of prop wash, but hey, it's a 7-inch quad. You are going to get that. But other than that, it's a very smooth flying quad, and it still has a lot of punch. I'm not punching here because I've got just the 1300 milliamp battery, but it seems that it's actually sucking about 12 amps in the cruise, which is pretty damn good. And that's why when I made a 3000 milliamp hour battery out of 18650 lithium ion cells, I got 16 minutes with plenty in reserve. I'm going to make a 4000 milliamp hour pack with some slightly larger cells, and I'll make a video on that. So if you want to get a good long range lithium ion pack for your long range quad, it'll help you along the way. I'm expecting well over 20 minutes with the 4000 milliamp hour pack, because if you're flying long range, well, you've got to have the endurance to get there. It's no good having a quad that'll fly 10, 15 kilometers if it runs out of battery at the 5 kilometer mark, because you've got to go out and you've got to get back. So yeah, this is a very efficient quad. And so with the 4000 pack lithium ion pack, I should get well over 20 minutes. And since the flight speed is around about 60 kilometers an hour, 70 kilometers an hour in cruise, that's a long distance. You can travel a long distance with this quad. It really is what they claim, long distance. Now, notice here that the left-hand prop is in frame just ever so slightly. I think that means that the FPV camera is not perfectly aligned with the axis of the quad, but there's no sign of the right-hand prop. This is important because with those props barely in view, or not in view at all, you can use the DJI O3 system and capture wonderful recordings directly from the FPV camera at up to 4K. And you won't have to worry about carrying a GoPro or some other camera because the props are really not in field of view. You may have to crop a little bit, but basically speaking, you won't have to worry about those props contaminating the wonderful footage you're going to get from that unit. Really important. This is an O3 ready quadcopter, and it is available with O3 now. I think last time I checked on the webpage, you can buy it with the O3 system. That's absolutely fantastic. Now, it does come with GPS rescue, as all long-range quads should, because if you run out of range or run out of video at a distance, you want the damn thing to come back. Flying around the airfield here, I had it set to drop because I don't want the quad lurching up into the air if something goes wrong, because there could be an airplane. You've got to have full control at all times. So if control's lost, I want this thing on the ground. Now, setting up the GPS rescue did require some tweaking. It didn't come enabled. It was all set up, but it was just set to drop, and you need to activate certain, go into the GPS rescue page. Plenty of stuff on YouTube to tell you how that works. The GPS receiver on this thing was very quick to gain satellites and had a constant 15 to 16 satellites throughout the entire flight, which is more than enough to give you good GPS rescue performance. Now, the OSD on the DJI system, I don't have the WTF hack. I just used the stock standard version 1 goggles, and It's amazing what you get on the standard. If you select the alternative OSD, you get a home arrow, you get all your stuff like distance and altitude, cell voltage, all that sort of stuff is there. So if you don't feel comfortable hacking, well, notice that? Did you see that? Did you see that? That was, I flew behind those trees, and the video system, 700 milliwatts at 5.8, it got very low signal, so we got that pixelation. But the RF link, the Crossfire, didn't blink at all. And that's why I use Crossfire. Crossfire on 900 megahertz is much less affected by things like trees and wet grass and other things that might block a high frequency signal. So that's why I chose not to go ELRS. If I'd been flying ELRS or FreeSky standard 2.4, I might even have had a little momentary failsafe there. But Crossfire tends to cut through that stuff really well. So even though the video was going, the RF signal was strong. I didn't even get an RSSI warning. So yeah, Crossfire for long range, I think it's the preferred option. If you want to fly high, ELRS will do you, but as soon as you get near the ground, Crossfire on 900 megahertz, that frequency is really, really far more effective than 2.4. So there we go, reaching the end of the flight. If only the old man flying this could remember how to land. See what I mean? Done. There you go. I hope you enjoyed the flight. What is my summary of this quad? Well, I think it's a good buy. I think it's a really good quad. As I say, nothing is perfect. I've pointed out some of what I see could be improved areas, but overall, the pros outweigh the cons. I did set up a Chimera 7 for a friend. I don't have one myself, but I did set one up for a friend, and I would say this is every bit a match for the Chimera 7. Certainly, it comes well designed, well engineered. I would not hesitate in recommending this thing now. As I say, there are no affiliate links in my description. I can get a bean. I don't get a bean if you buy one of these, and I don't care because I'm here to give you information, not to make money out of you. But if you decide you want one of these, go to your other favorite reviewer that may have reviewed it. Use their affiliate link. Someone should get money for when you buy one of these. So yeah, if it's, I don't know, I think Albert Kim may have reviewed this thing. There's a few other people. Find your favorite reviewer. If they've reviewed it and you want to buy it, use their affiliate link. Give them some cash because everyone deserves a little bit of generosity, especially it's nearly Christmas. There you go. Thank you for watching. If you've got questions, comments, anything you'd like to know that I didn't cover, you know where to go. And I'll do my best to answer those questions in a timely fashion. In the meantime, thank you for watching. Thank you for the thumbs up. And thank you for the subscription if you're a new subscriber. Bye for now.